Good morning, everybody. Welcome you to the 2015-2016 academic year, but more importantly, the 2015 football season. So I'm Harry Stinson, interim athletic director. I have here Joshua Dean, our head football coach, and ready to get this 2015 campaign started off well. Right now, very excited about what I've been able to see over the summertime. A lot of student athletes were here for voluntary workouts, and it was a nice buzz to see all of the excitement around the resurgence of the old school and bringing back some of the old traditions and pride of having Kentucky State as a winning program. So getting back to those winning ways. And so I'm excited about this upcoming year. I'm excited about what we have in store. I'll let Coach Dean talk about our schedule and our student athletes, but I'm very excited about what we've been able to do over this past year from an academic standpoint, with 50% of our student athletes having a 3.0 GPA and 18 of our student athletes having a 4.0 GPA over this past academic year. So it's a tremendous accomplishment. We're increasing our enrollment, we're increasing our engagement, our student athlete engagement, we're increasing our ways to interact and be exposed to the community as a whole. So I'm excited about this upcoming year and all the different things that we have planned. So with that, I'll turn it over to Coach Dean to talk a little bit about our football team.
Just to add on what Mr. Stinson said, and just want to thank him for being a great leader for this department as well as this football team and the young men that we have. We're definitely excited about this 2015 season. We have, there's a sense of a time and a readiness in our group. The fact that we have a big group of our freshmen that we're able to retain them going into the next year and have, this past year we were a very young team. This team, we have a sense of familiarity with the players and the system that we'll feel that will take us to another level. We have a real good group of guys as far as sophomores and juniors that we believe that will lead the way in the charge of this 2015 season as well. Offensively, to say the least, we did lose a couple of players that have been stalwarts for us as far as Jacquees Laquette, Justin Williams, and Chad Reeves. But we definitely feel that we're turning the page on what we want to do as a program, especially on offense. Returning back, which is we felt is huge for us, is Derek Woodmore, who's coming off an injury on the first game last year, and just his leadership and his toughness, mental toughness, especially coming from the receiver position, adds a lot of energy back to that offense. We have Bo Johnson, who's leading us, who is going to his sophomore year, who will be leading us on the offense at the quarterback position. And we also have a number of different weapons that we feel that will allow us to take our offense to another notch. Yes, we're a predominantly running team last year. We had a lot of weapons that were on the sideline via injury and that were redshirting. So now that we have opportunity to get them on the field, we feel that we can show the vision of what we had for our offense. We're going to be an attacking offense. We have speed in the outside and in the slot positions. And, with athleticism in the quarterback position, we're going to put a pressure on defense. And, in camp we have seen that. We have returners Lavelle Cloyd, who will be a sophomore, who's also a local talent from Lexington, from Bryan Station. We have Corey Slaughter, who is a second-team All-SIAC candidate. And we have Ronky Tapper, who's a receiver, and Charles Snoop Johnson, who's a receiver as well. And all four of those receivers bring so much versatility as far as just getting the ball in their hand and getting them out in space. So that's one of the keys that we want to focus on. And we're led up front by Michael Moaga, who is a 3-year starter for us, as well as Kenyon McLaurin, who is a 2-year starter for us back in the center position. And we feel like with that core, especially in the middle of that offensive line, it will prove valuable through the stretch. Defensively, we feel that we're at a point where we can demand a lot from the defense. We have a lot of players that have been in the system 3 or 4 years. led by none the least Jermaine Graham, a 3-year starter for us in our program, who was a second-team all-conference preseason nominee this year from the safety position. We have also in the linebacker position another 3-year starter for us, Trayvon Spencer, who is another second-team all-conference preseason member from the linebacker position. And also Lydell Simon, who is a first-team preseason nominee for linebacker in that position. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have a lot of unsung heroes, such as Deshaunte Glass and Donovan Cecil, and new additions like a Delvin Jones, who's a defensive end transfer for us, and Raymond Malone, who is a transfer from us as well from Michigan, who's a corner. And our old reliable lockdown corner, Eric Rawls. So we definitely have a lot of faith in the defensive side. It's been a battle on both sides of the ball this camp, and I explained to the team yesterday that the good thing about it is iron sharpens iron. And there'll be one day where the defense is capitalizing, and then on the flip side, the next day the offense is taking advantage as well. And the one thing that I haven't seen since I've been here, it's always been one-sided as far as offense and defense. But now that we have all the weapons in place and everybody healthy, we definitely feel that we can make a push. There's no doubts about it that our schedule will be a difficult one. It'll be a challenging one. But that was the plan. The plan was, okay, how do we take this program to the next level as far as not only in talent and the players that we bring here, but in recruiting and as far as the mindset of taking this program seriously as far as football. We had a very young team last year, and we played a challenging schedule. We played, I believe, 2 CIAA conference teams that both were in playoff contention last year. And Virginia State, I believe, went deep into the playoffs as far as Division II. And both those teams we took to the brink and lost, I believe, by less than a touchdown. I joked with one of the reporters today saying that I don't remember the losses, but I do. I know we did go 3-7, but out of those 7 losses, 5 of them were lost by 7 points or less. With a team that was built on, I believe, 20% of our team was freshmen that had to play and start. In other words, sophomores and juniors that were the first year actually playing in that type of competition. Because of that, I feel like we developed ourselves and able to build ourselves prepared for the schedule to make that jump. So going into Hampton next week, we don't fear or shake at the challenge ahead of us. We welcome it, and we're eager at the bit to get out there and show what we can do. And to a man, each player and coach and administrator understands that we're in it to win it. Each time we step on that field, we have the mindset of taking it to whoever our opponent is. And when those clocks hit 0, we'll be the ones singing our alma mater because we just got that victory. That's the mindset every day, every practice, every meeting is to win the day, to be victorious. And that's what we plan on doing September 5th.
And I'm very excited about this upcoming season, and especially the partnerships that we've been able to create in the local community. Starting off with the first home game, we're having a big tailgate here on campus sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. One of the first times that'll occur here on campus, and ESPN Radio, all of the members of the Chamber and all the different local businesses will be here to celebrate and start kickoff of football here in Frankfurt at the collegiate level. And UK will be, ESPN Radio will be here giving out tickets for the UK Tennessee game. And then everybody's coming into the game to watch us play Johnson C. Smith on that day. And we have a number of different events at every home game that's going to be all community-based, with our military game October 24th, especially our homecoming October 10th, and then November 7th, we'll be celebrating our seniors as they graduate and performing their last football game here on campus on November 7th. So we're excited about the season. We're excited about the direction of the team. Like Coach said, we had 20% of our football team last year be freshmen. Between freshmen and sophomores, it's about 40 student athletes. But the key thing that I took out of last year's season was we had the 27th toughest schedule in Division II. and to play at that level and lose 5 of those games by 6 points or less, you can see the development of our team. You can see the development in coaches' first full year as head coach. So we're headed in a good direction. We have the key pieces in place. We have a good nucleus and core of student athletes that understand and are learning how to win and building those bridges so that the future at Kentucky State is very, very bright, and they're laying the foundation for us to have a successful year and a successful program moving forward. So I'm excited about this year. And with that, we'll open up any questions that you may have.
Coach, you've mentioned some of the accomplishments last year as far as academics and how your team did. What were some of the other accomplishments from last year that are carrying forward to this year?
You know, as regards to accomplishments, you know, one of the things that we feel that we've accomplished, and some things can't be measured, but the amount of community service that we've taken in place in, as far as we have programs called Breads for Books, and where we go every Friday, we take a group of the players and we go to the different middle schools in Frankfurt and to read books to the kids and to the classrooms and help give out different toys that they have for that. Also, just being a part of the community, making sure that, you know, we're letting everybody know we're Frankfurt University. We are a part of Frankfurt. We are Frankfurt. And not just stopping there. We are Frankfurt, we are Lexington, we are Louisville, we are Hardin County. You know, we're all these places that we're trying to reach out and let them know that we're here and to be a part of that. Also, I think one of the accomplishments that we've taken place is getting more, we're still part of that movement of getting more in-state kids. And our freshman class, I believe, of signees that reported, we have, I believe, 90% of them were in-state kids. You know, coming from Hardin County, Mercer County, Harrisburg, areas like that, where we've done a good job of getting those places and getting the kids that are in-state. Those are accomplishments that we like to build on, and the fact that a lot of the players that are returning, you know, they're returning in spring and returning for fall. So now you're starting to get that continuity. And like I tell people, and we have a couple of GAs that were part of that first team that I was when I was an interim head coach, is that, you know, one of the keys about that team when we went 5-5 is that you had a group of young men that had played with each other and known the system for 3 or 4 years. And you're starting to see that now, where the junior class, there's a group of 20 or 30 kids that have been here and been through the system. The sophomore class is a group of 15 to 20 kids. So now you're starting to see that, you know, that foundation being set and understanding. If I talk to not only like a Trayvon Spencer, if I speak to a Jermaine Graham, and I tell them something that I believe is a core belief as myself as a coach, that's all they know, because they've been here in this system for 3 years straight. So now we know the expectations up there. So I believe those are one of the accomplishments, and especially the academics. You know, we had like we said, we had a freshman class that had to participate or play major minutes last year, and you know, it's difficult as a freshman to come into that first semester academically and be able to catch up and keep on pace with being a college student. So we did have some struggles that first semester, but we were able to make you know, astonishing gains in the turnaround as far as getting them to where they need to be academically in the second semester. And you know, I believe athletics as a whole, you know, just like most other parts of our university, you know, taking that step to make sure that, you know, this is an academic institution first and foremost. So we have to make sure we take care of that before we can take care of anything else. And we feel that, you know, as student athletes, we have to be a representation of that. And, you know, that's kudos to President Burst, making that one of the things that, you know, we are known for at Kentucky State is our academics and the academics approach in that. And we're making sure that, since especially football as being one of the most recognizable groups of this university, that we're holding our end and doing what we need to do to uplift that.
Coach, what advantage do you offer, or can you tell a player you're recruiting? Um, what advantages do you give them about Kentucky State, especially if they're considering someplace like a Georgetown, a Campbellsville, Lindsey Wilson, or even Eastern Kentucky University, Moorhead, or Murray State? How can you get those type players in also?
What we've done here and what we sell as an advantage is not only first and foremost you sell the university, you sell the facilities and the campus and the atmosphere and the family environment that Kentucky State University is, and I feel that something in the past couple of years we definitely, like Mr. Stinson said, the resurgence. I always call it, it's not to rebuild, but to revitalize the connection between us as athletics and alumni and the community. And with that being said, you can see if I go to a grocery store now, if I go somewhere to a local diner, I can see a schedule, or if someone will recognize who we are, or if a football player comes in, acknowledges and tell a story about maybe 20 years ago when they went to Kentucky State or went to the game, and that familiarity between the student athlete and the community is what we're selling. That's first and foremost. Then you say the academics, the aquatics program, the ag department, the business department, departments that we know have done a lot as far as developing students and giving them opportunities for professional career opportunities that we believe are second to none. And those opportunities, that starts there before you get to the football. When we talk about football, you have coaches that not only coached at every level but played at every level. You have myself that not only played in the collegiate level but played professionally and had I'm a coach's son. And then you look at the coaching staff. You have Coach Turner, Coach Larry Turner's offensive coordinator, who's played professional football and played in Eastern Kentucky, and being coached by legendary Roy Kidd. Same with Jason Dunn, being coached by legendary Roy Kidd, playing in the NFL for 12 years. On the defensive side, you have a coach like Stephon Sampson that he is Kentucky State. He's a alumni through and through, and has seen and knows the culture, knows the ins and outs of not only the community but the system. You have a coach like Frank Turner, who even though he played for Albany State, when he was there every year they won a championship. So he breeds excellence in that position and understanding what it takes to win in this conference. And so in doing that, we tell you, I never talk about another program or about another coaching staff or anything like that, but I believe my coaching staff is second to none in the fact that we not only can we talk it, we walked it. And we definitely feel adding Shane Boyd to our staff, coming from UK and playing and in fact just finishing up playing arena football with the Arizona Rattlers, I believe. He'll be here and adding that extra expertise as well. So, in each level, you say academics, you say community, you say campus life, you say coaching, okay? And then from there, in each level, we give you a tool or a piece of information or guidance that will help you succeed once you leave here. And a lot of times when people recruit, they forget all those essential keys are needed in developing a young man to becoming a man that can be able to carry on and do what he needs to do to be successful in life once he leaves Kentucky State. And that's what we strive for, is not to just develop the player, but develop the man.
As far as your opponents this year, Coach, which ones will you find the most challenging? Which individual players are the top players that you will play against this year? And also, what do you project your record to be this year?
Well, I project our record to be 1-0. all my focus on is Hampton. All our focus, I know we have the green and gold game today. I'll be honest. Defensively, we've been looking at Hampton. We've been preparing for Hampton. So, in that regards, I don't look past them. There's some teams. I mean, Hampton, being a Division I school, and having some success. Obviously that's going to be one of our challenging games right out the gate. And plus, it's the first game. And it's funny enough, one of our GAs said, the first game is always tricky because you gotta, there's gonna be some mistakes, there's gonna be some jitters, but you just need to get through and fight through it. So at that point, it doesn't matter if you're a defending champion or if you lost every game, you guys are starting at level, 0-0. Besides that, Tuskegee, Fort Valley, Fort Valley is returning their backs and their quarterback and the all-conference receiver. Tuskegee has the 2 quarterbacks. I believe one was a senior that graduated last year, and one he had success against us. I believe it was 11, number one. He had a lot of success against us as far as running the ball. I believe those are the games. Especially Fort Valley for me is always a big game because of my history coaching there. But it seems like we're either their homecoming, they're our homecoming every year. So homecoming, is essential because I feel like homecoming is a way we can give a gift to what better gift you can give to alumni is to win a game on homecoming. And also Central State. Central State, quiet as kept. I know they've been retooling. And I know Coach Pearl, and I know he's building that team up to how he wants what he wants to have, just like he was when he was at, I believe, Alabama State or Alabama A&M. So he's trying to get that same recipe going down there. So that'll be a tough task for us as well. So each game is going to be a challenging one, and we won't take any for granted. We just have to make sure we approach it the right way.
Mr. Stinson, this is going to be, you're entering your first full year as interim AD for the department. Last year, there was a change that happened right after the football season started, which, especially if players are close with the administrators, is going to be tough on the players regardless. What are some of the changes that you brought in athletics that will help ensure the success of your football team this year, and not just your football team, but the athletic program as a whole?
The first thing is we wanted to make sure that we connect with alumni and bring them back into the fold and let them know what's going on, meet the players, meet the student athletes, get to know them so they can get to know you. Our main focus has been to ensure that folks are engaged. We're doing that with alumni, we're doing that with the community, we're doing that with anybody who has any kind of connection to Kentucky State, and making sure that our student athletes are being exposed to their successes, and we're exposing their successes as well. So the other things we've been able to do is increase our social media platforms and the way that we promote the student athletes. Last year we were able to launch having live streaming of our basketball games, and that did well for our student athletes. Exposure, mom and dad out in California, aunties and uncles in Detroit or down in Florida were able to see the student athletes live or on demand and watch games. So we're increasing that. We're doing that with all of our games moving forward, starting with football on September 12th. So those games will be live streamed right here in the stadium and on demand. So, increasing the exposure, and the big thing that, I push and promote to our staff is our mantra, which is act like we are champions. And act means we're accountable, we're building a culture here, but we're also transparent. So, and that's been the things that's been able to carry us through all of the tough times and the budget cuts and everything else, is the fact that we have been transparent and we've been building a culture here. So there's a true connection. So folks folks trust. Folks are able to understand what's going on and provide resources. I get calls all the time about how folks can help and what they can help with, and we're building upon that. But the second part of that is which is everything that we're doing now is geared towards student-athlete welfare, student-athlete experience, and student-athlete exposure. So we've increased the welfare by adding a chiropractor to be a part of our rehab services with Dr. Kurt Adams and Adams Chiropractic. And that provides another resource for us. We partner with the co-op folks on campus so that we can have dietitian services and have nutrition education, but also build out our strength and conditioning program. We changed our system also from, we were with UK for our sports medicine, but we're still with UK for our doctors, but we switched over to CORT, which is the Kentucky Orthopedic Rehab Treatment Centers, which has the largest number of rehab centers across the state of Kentucky, which also gives us another avenue to recruit because they have a lot of high schools. So we already get that history on the student athletes and their injuries and everything else. There's a marketing tool, there's a connection already there built up, and that trust. But also, we increased our athletic trainers from 2 to 3 so that we can have more people being able to service our student athletes. So the wellness and the welfare portion of it, we're definitely increasing. The experiences. We have games like Hampton. We have, being able to sign a 5-year deal with the Circuit City Classic puts us in the Midwest, and being able to expose our student athletes that they can mark on their calendar every year that we're going to play in a professional stadium, we're going to play our arch rival, and we're going to win that game, and for the fans, and then they have a couple of weeks later, going to be right back in front of all of those fans right back here on campus for homecoming. So being able to have something like that, being able to sign a deal with UK to play the exhibition game here for our student athletes and fans and alumni to rally around having another game here in the community. We are in the process of signing a contract to play in Chicago for basketball that taps into our Chicago alumni. So it's reaching out and being able to expose our student athletes to the different alumni. We don't get a chance to play in Chicago and Detroit and all those different places as often because of our conference play and it being more so South-centered. But having a tough schedule, having a schedule where we can, that's doable and winnable, and at the same time exposes us to the alumni and everything else. And that's just another way for them to be able to give and participate and get involved. And then bringing them back here on campus, starting the different things we do with the student athletes, where we have a program called Leave a Legacy. And that Leave a Legacy program is where the student athletes give, and we turn that right around, all the money that they donate to the department, we turn that right around and we start to build out and purchase fatheads. We'll be doing renovations in this room right here in the next week or so with new furniture in here and new pictures and everything. So it's really just getting folks involved, getting folks engaged, and then implementing our Act Like We Are Champions motto. And the end of the day is being a champion. So it's a mentality. It is, if you act like a champion, you'll be a champion. And we want student athletes who win in the classroom, want to be champions in the classroom, want to be champions on the field and court. But at the end of the day, us as a coaching staff, us as a department, us as a university, we're able to go out and be champions for these student athletes and these students at the university so that they can get those great jobs, so they can get and start their careers and everything else. So it's all about acting like we are champions and we'll be champions, and pushing and promoting our student athletes to be the greatest that they can be. And that's evident with, like I said, the student athletes increasing to about 50% of our student athletes having a 3.0 GPA. And we're raising our GPA to a point where our goal is to have our department as a whole to have a 3.0 GPA. When I got here in 2009 as an assistant athletic director, our GPA as a department was 2.2. We're now pushing 2.7, and we're inching closer to that 3.0 mentality. So it's all about just continuously pushing and developing our student athletes, and I call athletics a laboratory for the professional development of students. And that's what it is. And that's all we're doing, is professionally developing them to be successful out in the real world and in the classroom. So, and we just use the tool of athletics. We have a great coaching staff. We've been able to put in place coaches that have won. Like Coach said, we have folks that have played at all levels, have won at all levels, but everybody on our staff has won a conference championship or won an NCAA championship or have participated in those. So the only way to teach how to win is to be a winner. And so we're bringing in student athletes like Bo Johnson, who's been able to be successful. Folks like Jermaine Graham, who's been able to be successful throughout. So those are the type of things that we're implementing, and that has allowed us to be successful and continue to grow. So there's been tremendous success over this past year, and look forward to continuing that.
Coach, you and Mr. Stinson both mentioned your coaching staff and their pedigree. Have you been pressured by the administration to win this year, especially considering that you do, for the first time last year, you had an AD who had played collegiately and who had been to the top. You also have a president who was a standout athlete in football himself. Has there been any additional pressures placed upon you to win this season?
Since I've been coaching, and I do attribute this to being when I was at Fort Valley, if you don't have a winning season, you don't win at all. Ain't nothing guaranteed. So, as far as in regards to that, there's no added pressure. The only person that puts pressure on myself is myself. The only people that put pressure on our team is the expectations that we put in place as our team. Defensively, we expect to hold teams to no points. Don't care if the ball's on the 1 yard line, they ain't gonna score. Offensively, we touch the ball, we're gonna get a touchdown. If special teams, if we're receiving the ball, we're gonna get a touchdown. If someone's gonna punt the ball, we're gonna block it. So that's our mindset. I feel that that's my mindset, and it goes all the way down to the last player on this team, that's their mindset. So we don't, as far as the pressure in that regards, the outside noise and the outside talk and anything like that, we just focus on what goes on in our locker room and inside this stadium and inside these walls. Everything else we'll take care of, and we'll set it on the field.
What are your biggest challenges this year, or biggest opportunities?
I think the biggest opportunity is to see, in particular offensively, some of the weapons that we know we have to put them on display. I think the past couple of years, Jock came out of nowhere, Jacques Laquette, and his success. So, it became a crutch for us offensively to just run the ball and give it to Jock and let him, run us home. And, because of that, we didn't develop like we needed to on that side. Yeah, we had some injuries. Yes, we had some people that weren't able to participate last year. But now we feel that we have opportunity to use all our weapons. When we went to the SIC media kickoff, that was one of the things I stressed, is that just because Jacques Laquette and Justin Williams are gone doesn't mean that our weapons are gone. Now we have a chance to really show some of the talents and the skill positions players that we have. And, defensively, to show the growth. We've always expected our defense to be top in the nation. So now we have a chance to go out there and show what we really can do. So the opportunity to go out there and to display what you believe is one of the key things that we look forward to.
So we have time for one more question, and then we'll move forward to the student athletes.
Okay, my last question is, when you first took over a few years ago, you had mentioned a lot of the changes in the philosophy and different things with the program that have positive results upon the athletes, and especially for them training coming into that particular season. What changes in the program has occurred this year that makes things look more positive for the athletes?
I think, the tempo is definitely picked up as far as how we practice, being more efficient with the time. I think sometimes, you get into a mode where when you were a player and when you played, that's how things always have to be, because this is how it was done when I was there. But then you have to realize that with time, some things change. And it's really been to figure out what can we do to get the optimal performance out of our student athletes. And that's what we've done. I feel that we've allowed or pushed these guys to a point where, they're hitting on all cylinders. And the focus in the teaching, we ramped it up a lot this year. So now we're not with the point of teaching guys just the X's and O's and the basics, but now we're teaching them how to actually think and how to have their mind operate while they're on the field. The first year, we had a lot of returners coming back, but you had to get the mentality and their psyche changed around because coming off of a difficult season. I feel then last year we had a young team. We had a very young team that some players had to play key roles for us. And now, the best when they tell you in learning, and the best tool in learning is experience. And I feel like a lot of guys have experience now. I've experienced it. We talk about Bo Johnson. His first game starting was against Tuskegee. And, that's a heck of a way to learn, but he was thrown in it and he learned. Trayvon Spencer started as a freshman. He took his licks, but, it makes him the player he is today. And you can say the same about Mike Moaga and Dale Simon and Slaughter. This camp, we had some of our top guys that have been out, but, Slaughter and Charles Johnson had to take a lot of reps because of that. And with that, their development and understanding of different positions has elevated their play. So we just expect that, within time and going through it and some of the adversities that we've encountered, it's really made us stronger and really gelled the team. I think the biggest difference I can say with what I've seen this year compared to last year is the team chemistry is 10 times better. These guys have been with each other, and it was through summer, it was through spring, and we had our camp show, and it probably was one of the highlights of all camp, just how close these guys are and how fast they bonded. New students, old students, all everywhere in between. So I think that in itself, if you respect and love the person you're playing next to, you're going to give that much more effort, and that's what these guys have done.
So now we'll transition. We'll have the offense first, and then guys from the defense.